Another day, another gaming mouse. I don't know if our audience are getting tired of these videos, but this one's pretty good. It's pretty good. Guys, meet the Corsair Glaive RGB gaming mouse. Corsair is targeting this mouse for gamers who value comfort and performance, along with other features like RGB lighting and a few more that we'll discuss shortly. Priced at $70, the Glaive competes head-to-head with Logitech's G Pro and the G4 III, along with a few other competitors like the Rival 300 from SteelSeries and the Mionix Castor. All of these mice have received countless positive reviews, and fortunately we reviewed all of them, so I'll leave a link to those videos in the description down below. Now, I've been using the Glaive RGB for the past few weeks, so I'm just going to share my thoughts about it with regards to gaming, editing, and other productive tasks that I do on a regular basis. But before we move on, a quick message from our sponsor.
What? It's at the View 31. You should put a ring on it.
Yes, time to make it RGB official. Thermaltake Ring High Static Pressure Fans, because your case deserves a ring. Full details in the description below.
As always, let's start with the design, because it's actually just as important as the sensor's performance. I really like what Corsair has done with the Glaive. There are a few aggressive elements throughout the body, like the subtle insertion on the sides to showcase the LED lighting, which by the way has received the RGB treatment, and there are 3 zones that can be customized through the Q software. The build quality is also excellent. The chassis is mostly made out of hard plastic materials, but it's put together really well, and I'm always a fan of this soft touch silicone material that's similar to the G4 III and my Avior 7000, although it will wear out over time picking up oil stains. Corsair also sells an aluminum version of the Glaive, and the only difference is that it's a little bit heavier than the black model. Let's talk ergonomics, because that's Corsair's main selling point for the Glaive. I have large hands, and my palms were wrapped around the body comfortably. For size comparison, I have the G4 III here, and as you can see, the Glaive is a little bit taller, but it doesn't affect reachability for the 2 primary buttons. Unfortunately, the body isn't ambidextrous, so left-hand users are completely left out of the equation. If you recall my review of the G-Skill MX780, it featured interchangeable side grips that allowed users to adapt towards various grip styles. The Glaive sports a similar feature, except it's only done on the left side. Out of the box, they include 2 extra thumb grips that are shaped differently to better suit your style. Personally, I ended up using this slim and textured grip since I constantly switch between claw and palm type grip when I'm editing and gaming, but your preference might vary. Anyways, kudos to Corsair for including this feature in the first place. The bottom comes well equipped with 4 Teflon pads, and they did a great job gliding on my cloth gaming mousepad. The cable is braided, but it's not as flexible as my Avior 7000. On a positive side, they have reinforced it really well to the unit, and it's also long enough to route behind your PC. There are 6 programmable buttons that can be customized through the Q software. This includes primary left and right clicks, the forward and backward buttons on the left side of the mouse, the scroll wheel button, and the DPI shift button sitting right next to it. Speaking of the DPI shift button, Corsair has implemented an indicator at the top of the mouse for easier distinction, and it cycles through 5 different steps. The primary buttons exhibit great tactile feedback, and the travel distance felt similar to my G4 III, plus they don't require a lot of force to actuate, so that's awesome. I was a little concerned with the forward and backward button placements because, as you can see, the slight gap between the buttons and the thumb grip made it awkward to access them, so it took me a while to get used to that. This is partly due to the interchangeable grip design, but when you compare it to the G4 III, which does not have that feature, it was automatically a seamless experience sliding my thumb to click the respective buttons. On the other hand, the scroll button doesn't require a lot of pressure to press, and the scroll steps are nicely defined, and it's also well gripped if you care about that. Moving on to tracking performance, Corsair has implemented a custom-designed optical sensor that boasts a sensitivity of up to 16,000 dpi. Honestly, I really don't care about how high the sensor can go up to. In fact, if any of you guys use a mouse at that setting, leave a comment down below because we need to have a serious chat. Coming back to the topic of performance, I had an excellent time both gaming and editing on it. I normally leave my DPI setting at 1600, plus Corsair has a cool feature of fine-tuning settings down to 1 DPI. I did play around with this option through the Q software, and to be honest, I didn't notice a huge difference with slight increments, but it is a nice feature to have if you're really picky of your desired DPI setting. After a few seconds of calibrating the sensor on the Glaive with my mousepad, I jumped into a quick Battlefield 1 deathmatch session to bring out its true potential. And the good news is that I was able to aim and target subjects really well. Acceleration was nowhere to be found, and given how fast these switches are, I was able to fire gunshots just as fast as my G403. So overall, it's a really good sensor, and I don't think you'll regret about it when you pick it up. And the last thing to cover here is the driver software. You can easily modify settings and then save them directly to the mouse thanks to the onboard storage inclusion on the Glaive. This is perfect for gamers on the go who may not have the advantage of bringing their own personal computer with them everywhere. Taking a look at the left-hand side of the window, the tabs are nicely organized. Starting with the Actions tab, you can create, customize, and assign macros to any of these 6 buttons. Moving on to Lighting Effects tab, you can cycle through the different lighting effects, including Rainbow, Color Shift, Color Pulse, Static, and Lighting Link that essentially syncs lighting effects with other Corsair peripherals if you happen to own one. The DPI Shift tab is pretty straightforward, and like I mentioned earlier, the user has full control with regards to how far he or she can set the sensor sensitivity. The Performance tab lets you play around with the liftoff distance and pointer speed, and finally, the Surface Calibration tool allows you to calibrate the optical sensor inside the Glaive. So if you're looking for a gaming mouse under the sub $70 price point, you should definitely consider the Glaive to be on the top of your list. Everything from the build quality to the design, to the way how it feels in the hand, to its sensor performance is excellent. You know, features like RGB lighting and the interchangeable side grips are great additions, but you also can't cross out other competitors like the G403 from Logitech, the Castor from Mionix, and the much less expensive alternative, the Rival 300 from SteelSeries. It's really hard to pick a winner from all of them because all of them are really good mice. But I'd like to hear your thoughts about the Corsair Glaive. What do you guys think about this mouse? Would you consider spending $70 on it, or are there any cheaper alternatives apart from the other competitors that I mentioned that you'd be interested in taking a look at? Let us know in the comments down below. I'm Ebro with Canucks. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more similar content, and we'll see you in the next one.